Oh, what's going on, guys? I'm Austin Mac, and welcome back to another Overwatch talking video thing. You guys loved the last one. Thank you guys so much for the support. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a different topic, 5v5 versus 6v6. But before we jump into that, please make sure to like, subscribe, post notifications, all that sort of stuff to keep up with the videos. I'm trying to upload weekly and hopefully daily, so if you haven't already, please make sure to put post notifications up, and you'll be notified every time I upload. So, 5v5 versus 6v6, a very complicated topic, and a topic that you actually see in the video here is actually a 6v6 with one tank on our side and two tanks on their side. You'll see why that matters in a little bit as you watch the gameplay. But 5v5 versus 6v6 is a very interesting topic, as the entire discussion behind it literally spawned Overwatch pushing for open queue to be changed, an entire game mode to be added, and a lot of reversions back to Overwatch 1 compared to where Overwatch 2 started. Were those good? Were those bad? Let's talk about that. So, the 5v5 versus 66 discussion started all the way back even before Overwatch 2 started, when they announced that 5v5 would be taking over as the main game mode and 6v6 would be basically just retired. Now, the reason why the devs did this in the first place, autonomy was a huge reason. Players, and from what they said, players really wanted to have more autonomy and more control over their gameplay. One less player means everybody on that team suddenly has far more responsibility to do other things. Of course, the tank now basically has the responsibility of two tanks, like it was prior, but now the support might be able to heal and not heal bot the entire tank the entire time, and maybe go fight. Or a DPS might not be worried about bashing into a Ryan, but could instead maybe do a little bit of tracer flank gameplay. And this seemed pretty good on the surface. Now, of course, a lot of balancing, the betas and alphas, all that sort of stuff really showed us that there needs to be some work on this game mode. It really took multiple seasons for it to really solidify as 5v5 being a good format for Overwatch. But that nagging issue always came up. Is it really better? Now that we don't have 6v6 even in our front view, do we really know that it's better? And so then became 5v5 versus 6v6. The debate would rage on, and eventually things like Overwatch Classic and some of these little test events that Blizzard would do would spawn what would eventually be the death of OpenQ and the revival of the Overwatch 1 6v6 format. Now that we have an actual fair comparison where Overwatch 2 has both the balancing of Overwatch 2 with the gameplay of 5v5 and 6v6, what are my opinions on it? So, as someone who is currently, I believe I'm currently Masters in both 5v5 and 6v6, I'm able to play at both a high competitive level, or decently high competitive level, and a fun quick play level. I like to play quick play whenever I really don't want to get mad at the game. So, for some reason I thought this was the last point. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm almost out of time. I'm not. So, I don't say this often, especially about big developers, but Blizzard was right. Agency is everything, but not in the way that they perceived it. They thought the solution would be removing one player would allow all other players to kind of do whatever they want. A support might not have to heal bot the entire time. A DPS might not have to fire all their bullets into one tank. But in my opinion, no. 6v6 does this better, which is the weirdest thing ever. And it's something that I've had to kind of come to terms with, where I was a 5v5 supporter. I genuinely thought, yeah, sure, one less person, it makes sense. My Brig doesn't have to constantly be throwing packs at their tanks or their DPS. Now, potentially one support could carry a team, and then the other support could go beat up people. And in some cases, that can happen, and in higher elo lobbies, that can't happen as much. But in 6v6, I'm not gonna lie, I get more of those opportunities. There's times when me and a DPS or me and a support can really flank and actually fight some people compared to a 5v5 scenario. In a 5v5 scenario, you're losing two people, that's kind of over. Like I said before, oh, don't worry about that. That's just a little battle.net jump scare. But like I said before, if you're losing any members of your team, that's kind of it. You lose the fight. But by losing a member of your team in 6v6, you're not completely out of it, especially when that person might be flanking. Or you might have a little cheeky Brig coming around the side and beating some people up. And that is where agency arrives. Agency does not arrive in a scenario where there's less to do. Agency arrives when there's enough people on the field where you're allowed to do what you want to do at that point. Agency is no longer about this whole thing where, oh, there's one less player. I don't have to heal as much. I don't have to shoot as much stuff. No. In 6v6, you wouldn't have to, but in 5v5, you kind of do. That focus, because there's one less player, the battle can be done that much quicker because you are that much more important. The importance of the player has changed. It is far more important to stay alive and finish the fight. In 6v6, I would say it's as important. Now, of course, playing good, playing your life, playing your heals, all that sort of stuff is very important, and these types of things can be a little different depending on what your level, your rank is, and even if you're playing quick play for that matter. But what I'm trying to get across is that truly the agency issue did not lie fully in the 5v5 versus 6v6 debate. I would rather see it as truly 6v6 has the better agency overall and allows players to kind of do a little more of what they want. Of course, you sometimes get into a match where you're protecting your Ana the entire time as a Brig, or you're doing the Zarya Rein combo like back in the day in Overwatch 1. But yeah, those are just generally my thoughts, and I would be really intrigued to see what your guys' thoughts are. Hopefully I fixed some of the audio issues. I think some people had some issues with when it comes to my balancing and stuff like that. Actually, I forgot to grab my pop filter, so that one comment that said I needed a pop filter, I'm sorry, it'll be there for the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the Zarya Brig gameplay. It was actually a really fun match. Being down one tank made it feel kind of weird, and it's also one of these scenarios where, hey, look, not having two tanks didn't actually lose us the match. I think this is either like a diamond or a masters match too, so it was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and I'll see you next time.